Is the board working? Okay, everybody's on? Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the January 20th, 2011 Board of Adjustment meeting. And please silence any cell phones or other noisemakers you might have at this time. And thanks for coming out on a not-so-wintry day, but we'll, first order of business is approval of the minutes from the January 6th, 2011 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. Please record your vote. And next item is continuance request or withdrawals.
We have none today.
Okay. Moving on to items requiring separate votes.
Item number 1, case number 13349, request of Taco Bell for a variance to the maximum number of accessory signs located at 12323 North Pennsylvania Avenue.
Is the applicant here? Please come on up to the podium and give us your name and address and a little bit about the case, if you would.
My name is Bruce Edwards, and I'm an agent for Delmark Signs, and the telephone number is 942-8703. And I'm asking for a variance for the Taco Bell to put up a menu board.
What was the reason for the
That's a
continuances?
They were asking for a continuance because they didn't have the letter of authorization from the property owner.
Oh, I
The
see.
correct letter of authorization.
Oh, I see.
That's why we had the last continuance, is that correct?
That's why.
And we have that now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this an issue with regards to the new ordinance? Because every restaurant's got to have these.
It was really a change in interpretation that these menu boards have, they've grown to where they have so much advertising on them that the permit office is really counting them as a separate sign and has been for some time. Generally, it's not a problem because a site has enough frontage to accommodate two signs.
Oh, okay.
But in fact, we're looking at the ordinance to make it kind of specific to the menu board so we won't have this problem.
Okay. Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the application. Please record your votes. You are approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2, case number 13369, request of KP Core Investments for a variance to the required number of parking spaces, access aisle width, and front yard setback located at 5119 Northwestern Avenue.
My name is Zach Punnett with KP Core, and this is Mike Kahn. We,
Just for the record, give us your address and if you.
I'm sorry, it's 5119 Northwestern,
Thank you.
and we have 3 variances, I believe, that are in the records. The first one, we have one that's the setback, and I believe that it was actually a mistake on our architect's part that the actual building sits, it does not encroach the setback, but I think it's 33 feet from the center of the building is the actual easement or the right-of-way in the front.
I think Plan Review was unsure if they needed the front yard setback because they didn't have a plan to scale that showed where the building was. So.
Okay.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. You've actually kept the front facade of this,
Yes.
the east facade,
we did.
right? I've driven.
You're not adding on the front.
No,
You took out everything behind that front facade and you're
that's
adding it
correct.
back.
Everything that we have was existing, so we're working
Right.
with what we have.
Right.
What is the proposed use of the building? You do
Just
have
office space,
office space?
yes.
Mike, I know this building rather well, but my question is, I mean, this is awful tight anyway, and don't we really feel like we're overbuilding the site? I mean, it feels like, this whole thing is really tight in there, you know? And that's what we have to be concerned with, is because when we take an action on something like this, is it affects the property. You know, it doesn't meet the ordinance right now, and so that's, for me, that would be the thing we'd have to resolve, is why, what justifies continuing to overbuild a site that's already too tight?
The building that we have there, we
Yeah.
actually are building within the footprint that was there. There was patio space that was the actual footing that came out and around that defined a patio space up front. And then in the back, there was just a little bit of a stone pathway that also had existing footing underneath. And we just took the building out to those existing footings, so we weren't
weren't changing, if I may, we weren't changing any of the footprint, if you will. So the foundation was all there initially. So there are a few sections in the front corner. We're not getting any closer. We're not encroaching any further than where it is right now. So we're working with exactly what was there previously.
But you changed the building space itself, right?
the inside.
Yeah, you're changing the usable building space itself, right?
Yeah, we actually have we just have the office space inside. We have 8 offices with
Yeah.
1 large conference room, 1 small conference room. We're actually going to be occupying, we're actually occupying the building as
Yeah.
well. And our variance on the other variances were for the parking spaces, and then the easement on the north side, which was actually an existing condition as well.
What kind of office space are you going to use it for? Real estate office, what?
I'm a home builder, and Mike has an insurance company, and so it's just, we don't have a lot of customers coming in and out. I mean, I may have a few clients here and there, but we feel that with the people that are actually occupying the building, we would have enough parking to accommodate the people that would be occupying the building and take on a customer here and there. At the front, we have 3 spaces.
If this was an O zoning, JJ, would that be necessary to change that parking?
Yeah, the zoning wouldn't affect the parking requirement.
So the parking requirements for zoning is the same as C3?
Yeah,
Okay.
Parking goes by the use.
Okay.
What is the square footage of the building that you're building now,
It's 2,800 square feet,
and what was it previously?
2,250.
Okay.
That extra square footage, if you will, this podium, this is the footprint of the building. The footprint was, the foundation, everything was already there previously. For some reason, when they built the building before, there were just 2 corners. We really have no idea why. 2 corners that weren't built on. Foundation, everything was there.
You got your plans here?
Yes, sir.
Can you see them?
Helpful.
Is there access on the south side?
Access is on the north side.
Yeah, there is an access on the north side, but is there?
Guys, if you will, just make sure you speak in the microphone, just because it records the testimony. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You don't have the site? You don't have, oh, here it is.
To answer your question, yes,
I thought there was access on the south side.
there is as well.
Yeah, we don't,
Do you have an easement on that side?
we have an easement on the north side, but the south side, there is, the property is under ownership of a different,
It's owned by
different
a
lot.
guy named-
Well, you own the north side.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's shown as, yeah. So you don't have an easement there, you actually own that. But I mean, in terms of access from this other side, because your Park Street going in is an angle here, and I'm trying to figure out what your traffic circulation is.
I'm sorry, yes.
Your traffic circulation would have to be,
We have access to the south side of the building through the people to the south of us has allowed us access to the building, to our building from
You have an easement?
that side.
do you have an easement?
There is an easement, yes, on that lot.
So you have an easement to drive through on the south side of your building, or not?
I'm sorry, I guess I'm not understanding what you're
Well,
saying.
do you know what an easement is? That you would have a long-term right to use that to access the back? Because your parking in back is angled
Right.
the wrong way for coming in this other driveway.
Okay, I can say that the building to the south of us, under the ordinances, would not be able to extend to the north, and so there is an easement there on,
Doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to explain.
There's either an access easement or there isn't.
It's his driveway. His driveway, just like our driveway is on the north side, the building to the south, his drive is on his north side, or our south. And
If he wants to put up a fence, he can put up a fence.
he wouldn't have any access to his back driveway
I
either.
know, but he could gate it off.
He could, and if it, we could change those lines to go the other direction with no problem, if that would.
If the two parking lots cross, they'll have to have a cross-parking agreement with the building permit.
Right.
You know, I know this area very well. I know Forward Foods, had to secure some additional parking, make some agreements with some of their neighbors. Have you guys attempted to possibly,
Actually, yeah, we've talked to Sign Construction, which owns the building to the west, and they have plenty of parking that's available during the day, which a lot of the Forward Foods clients use that parking and actually access Forward Foods through our property. There's one thing we're trying to avoid is using that north access, our actual access, because they have a door opening to that side. And obviously, that's a liability for us if we are accessing our own space and a customer comes out of their building with a bag full of groceries, opens the door, boom. We're just trying to avoid that liability as well by trying to avoid using our driveway or our access. And I guess we have a spoken agreement with the building to the south of us to share that entrance, that driveway that he has.
so you've talked to your neighboring property owners. Have you approached them about maybe getting written permission to use a certain number of parking spaces to alleviate this problem?
With the building to the south? Or
Any of your neighbors, just to say that,
I'm sure we could try to access, the written, have something in writing there from both Vance to the south of us, and then also Bill Sign to the west of us.
I just want to see that. That might help alleviate some of the heartburn up here with the committee members if you had something like that. It is a very tight site. I mean, I recognize it's an urban environment. Mr. Baker's, questions about actually having a permanent easement that allows you to access, I'm still unsure if that's there. Did you get an answer to your question that you understood?
I don't think it's there.
Okay.
I'll have to see it. I'd have to see a copy of it. A recorded easement or one that would be recorded along with getting a building permit or something like that.
Go ahead, JJ.
I don't know where they are in their permit process, but it would be required to get
The building's under construction
Yeah.
currently, correct?
Yeah, we were issued a permit.
You may, are there other questions, actually, before
I think I'm confused. Isn't that an alleyway to the west?
It is, but it's,
Okay.
somebody put trees, we just purchased the property in October. Somebody's put 3 trees in the alleyway and messed up plumbing and all kinds of stuff, and the city has lines running for water, and OG&E has all their lines back there, and somebody put some trees in there, and now they're real big, and roots are becoming an issue, and it's just a mess back there, and we're just trying to clear it up, and we're trying to clean it up.
So you don't have
make it
access?
useful.
No.
And we're not
Not
trying to overbuild it by actually making it a reasonable office size, that doesn't have, we didn't go 2 stories, we didn't do anything like that. We wanted to just try to, work within what we had.
And you think you can get permission to, from the building on the south to use that parking?
I don't think that'd be a problem.
To use his access?
access or parking, Jim?
Parking and access. I think, access, I think, is a problem. We're supposed to have 22 feet, we've got 9, or 9 or 10.
You got 9 parks here, and you're supposed to have 14.
Right. But you've only, the access on the north side is only 9 to 10 foot.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be 22,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit more than just parking.
I think you need an easement on the south side of the building.
We were told that the access needed to be 12 feet on our side,
On the north side.
the north side there.
And we were actually requesting a variance for that particular item, that it was not 12 feet, it was actually 90.
Okay.
Is that not accurate? I think you said 22.
I think I'd want to see your agreement, and I think maybe you need to continue and get that agreement and bring it back to us. I'd like to see that, but I'm not really completely sure that I want to see that access that narrow. And maybe if you could see, maybe if you use their access also, maybe that would alleviate part of the problem.
So we would, well, that access is there, is existing. So I guess you guys would be asking us to take the building down and shrink it?
Or, you say the city has that,
Well, it's the alleyway back there.
yeah, is the
And
city's
on the
got it
west
messed
side.
up?
What's that?
The city has it messed up?
I'm just saying,
Utilities back there that-
I'm just saying it is messed up. There's trees in it. Someone's put a bunch of trees in it, which is affecting a lot of, the old plumbing lines and things like that that are back there. There's water lines running through there in that little alley, but I think, are they able to plant trees in that space?
It sounds like it's a platted alley, but it's not open and improved, like some other alleys we see. It's on the plat, but it's never been paved and used as an alley.
Correct, it's not paved. It's,
What is the width of the drive to the south of you between your building and the drive that you're proposing to use as access?
12 feet.
That's 12 feet. It does sound like the board members would like to see an easement or an agreement between the south property owner that you do in fact have the right to use that drive.
Okay.
And I would further encourage you actually to potentially work out a written deal with your neighbors, possibly to the west of you, with Sign Construction, who owns that entire lot, because I do know their daytime usage is very light. Forward Foods has an agreement with them currently, and that might help alleviate your parking shortage as well. And I would, gauging from the direction and the feedback you're hearing, I would think you might want to ask for a continuance and try to secure those things.
Okay. We can do that.
So,
Move a continuance to...
you want 2
the
weeks or 4
next
weeks?
meeting or the one after that, or
2 weeks would be
2 weeks
fine.
should be fine.
2
Okay.
weeks? Okay.
And if for some reason you haven't secured everything by then, you can always ask for another continuance, okay?
Okay.
There's been a motion and a second to continue the meeting to the next, the case to the next meeting date of February the 3rd. Please record your votes. You are continued. Thank you, guys.
Item number 3, case number 13370, request of Southern Production Program, Inc. for a variance to the required number of parking spaces located at 236 Northeast 31st Street.
Hi.
TJ Razor, representing Southern Production, 236 Northeast 31st Street.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Parsons.
If you speak into the microphone, please. Thank you.
I'm Jim Parsons. I'm the contractor there.
Thank you. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
We were asking for a variance on the additional parking spaces that were requested. We are adding a storage facility that requires additional parking spaces. We currently have 19 spaces that are not used. On average, we have 3 employees currently. We have numerous excess parking spaces available.
And you actually also have room on this lot if parking was needed at some point in time to build additional parking. You own, is that correct?
Yes, sir. There's approximately, it's a 60 by 75 metal building, which is being added to the back of the property directly behind the existing business for storage, which has no AC, no heating or nothing like that. It's for storing equipment that I guess they refurbish the equipment for a printing company, newspaper printing company. Like I say, they have about 18 or 19 spaces there now that's not even being used. And we was asked if, because of adding that square footage, that would have to maybe add 4 or 5 more spaces. And the problem is, you'd have to put the spaces behind that building and probably access it from the other street, which would run into quite a bit of cost there. You'd have to access it off of 30th.
Right.
The way it's set up, the way they bring trucks backing up there with the equipment, it would really, a truck would just block off that area there to the north when they got unloading. So that equipment back, that parking area back there in the back is really would never serve no purpose. So I'd like to, because it would get expensive to have to add those spaces behind the building and put access into that, which it'd never be used.
If this is approved for your use only,
Yes.
and then if the use changed, then you'd have to come back in and review the parking needs, would that be okay?
I don't see why that would be an issue. We've been in business since 1956. So
Sounds good.
my understanding is we were founded in 1956.
Yeah.
This building was built in 67. It's served the same purpose ever since 1967.
Well, it's just a sort of a contingency thing,
Yes,
if something
yeah.
that you did change.
Yes, but as of right now, the way our business is, we're basically a nationwide organization of newspapers. We do training, service, repair, refurbishing of your old equipment, delivering it back to you, and so forth. So as far as our number of employees and such changing, the economy would extremely have to change in order for any of that to occur.
Okay. Well, my motion is to approve the application based on the current business that's in there.
Okay.
And part of that's based on the fact that there is room for additional parking if the use changes.
I would second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the application. Please record your votes. You are approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 4, case number 13371, request of Dunkin' Donuts for a variance to the landscaping requirements to allow parking and maneuvering in the right-of-way and to allow a sign in the site triangle located at 4400 Northwest 39th Street.
Hi, my name is Misha Goli, 4400 Northwest 39th. We're looking to remodel the current building that's there and add a drive-through as part of the remodeling of the building. The store's been there since 1974, and when it was built, it just, people don't drive through then. So, given the way that restaurants operate now, QSRs operate, drive-throughs are essential in surviving.
There's there's one unfavorable, have you
Yes,
read this
I
out?
have.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's one unfavorable consideration of this regarding the substantial encroachment of the drive into the right-of-way landscape area. Would you like to address that, please?
Well, when we were looking at the plans, we were trying to find a way to make it fit and flow the best way we could on the property. It does go into the right-of-way some, but it's like the minimum that we could do. The building itself, since it was built in 74, was so close to the property line, it's, minus knocking down the entire building, there's not a whole lot more we can do. And also, if we were to knock down the building, then it would change the dynamics of how it sits on the whole property as a whole. And, the current Dunkin' Donuts with the size that we need probably wouldn't even fit in there, because then we wouldn't meet our parking requirements either. Right now, we meet our parking requirements. At that time, that would probably change as well.
There's no, you do have room on the property to reconfigure the building.
Right. What we're trying to do, it comes down to trying to look at how to remodel the building for it to make financial sense, because when you go in there, you have to get finance, you have to secure financing. We have to secure financing. They're looking at the total cost of your project. This way, we're able to remodel the building, update it, and, make it look nice rather than while being able to control our costs. I mean, doing a knockdown rebuild situation would increase the cost significantly, making it a non-feasible project. What we're looking at doing, and we're updating the outside, make it look, quite honestly, it would probably be the nicest thing look on 39th Street right now, once we're done with it. And it won't be another dealership, I guess, but that's why we're not looking to do a build down. Plus, it's the timing, anytime you go down, it's an existing business right now, doing a tear down, rebuild would take much more time, which means the business has to be closed longer, which takes a longer time to recover that business as well. The way it is right now, we could do a lot of the outside work before we close.
We can't primarily consider economics as part of the decision.
Okay.
Okay. So, it could be, I guess, a part of the decision in a way, but not a primary part,
Right.
because so you can't you couldn't go through a remodel in which you removed the part of the east end of the building.
Well, to put the drive-through on the east end. I'm sorry.
No, to have the drive-through there, but
Oh, you mean like to shift the building?
well, not to shift it, but just to remove a part of the east end of the building in order to make room for a drive-through there.
Right.
Isn't that configured properly? You could do
Yeah,
that?
well, to do that, the building itself is only about 1,600 square feet right now. So, to knock down that east end of the
You could do a
building,
little addition on the back.
you have to go farther back, and then, if you went farther back, you have to look at it as far as how if that would hamper that driveway at the bottom of the picture, and then how that would hamper any other additional parking.
But there's plenty of room on the back to add on to it. As far as room, that's part of what our consideration is, what's the minimum necessary to do that? And if there's other options, then it makes it more difficult to go out into the street right of way for that. And so I don't know. I wasn't thinking you'd have to tear the whole thing down necessarily. Just maybe do a different type of a remodel in order to shift it away from the street a little bit.
Right, well, the building's in this, the cinder block building, you could, once the way the load-bearing walls are too, once the walls that are on the east side, those are the load-bearing walls, once you take that down, you're essentially going to, it's almost going to recount to...
What's the roof line on that again? I've forgotten the roof line on that. What's the roof line on that? Which way is it? How's the slope?
It's just a flat roof.
Yeah, which way is the slope?
The roof doesn't slope. It's a flat
No slope?
Roof. It's a flat roof.
Oh,
But it drains one particular way, I'm sure, where your guttering is that to the...
the drain to the back?
It drains to the back.
back?
Okay. So you could take the east wall down.
Uh-huh.
Are you not?
I'm not an architect. I'm
not?
a
okay.
business
Okay.
owner. Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of...
For some reason, I
Yeah,
thought you were not.
that's why I'm deer on the headlights look.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not an architect, no.
Okay.
What kind of underground utilities are in that easement presently, JJ, you know? Is it sewer, water, telephone? I know there's water in there.
There's a water line that's out in the street. Plans don't show any. The sewer line's in the back.
Yeah.
Might be over
Yeah,
here.
we have the
Might be some
utilities
overhead
come out. So
utility.
we've contacted utilities. The only thing that's in the way right now is there's a gas meter, and we spoke with them. ONG said they prefer to have it by the building anyway, so we have to pay to move the gas meter to go on the side of the building. Right now, it's just kind of in that easement area.
What about, I'm kind of along the same lines as Mr. Baker, and I think maybe you could reconfigure this thing and even do a entrance on the south. Take out a couple of parking spots, make it and I don't know the configuration of your building or anything.
You mean like the front entrance?
I'm
Are
sorry?
you talking about the front entrance to the building? Which entrance?
The south entrance, or the south side of the building, rather than the
Oh, you mean the drive-through window?
Drive-through?
Okay, well, so what we're looking at, one of the things we're looking at is looking at how it's queuing up when people go into the drive-through. A majority of the business goes through the drive-through, so, having it go through that south side, we're looking at how is it going to block potential, we're looking at how is it going to block potential parking. We're trying to keep it as far away from the street as well. I mean, right now, requirement is 110 feet from the window. I mean, we easily meet that, but we were trying to go and have a little bit more just to be safe. And then when you're looking at that drawing, that bottom box right there, that's a walk-in cooler freezer. So, I mean, you have to somehow reconfigure
So
that.
that elongated rectangular spot is
It's a walk-in cooler, yeah. I mean, to put the window back there, especially since the door, where the front door, where the walk-in customers come, to put the drive-through window in the back it would significantly alter the layout inside the store, where it wouldn't necessarily be operationally efficient.
I'm just not really in favor of taking an easement like that, and, especially putting a drive-through window there. If it was just a drive around, I think it'd be a little bit different story. But if for some reason those utilities need to be dug up, they're going to dig them up.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any obligation to have to put the driveway back or anything. Is there, JJ? If for some reason the city has to remove that water line or repair that water line, do they have any obligation to put the driveway back after they tear it up? They do, okay.
Well, the water line's actually going through the street. It's not in the easement. The water line right now, it's marked with, it's like that line on Amelia Avenue. That's where the water line is currently. It's in the street.
Runs east and west then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, it runs north and south.
Oh, okay, but it's on the other side of the
See,
street.
on the bottom, the sewer line goes on the south side of the property.
Yeah,
It's not that
see
angle.
that.
And that's the water line is over there in the street itself.
I will make just a couple of observations from looking at the site and some aerial maps that Amelia Avenue is only 3 blocks long. So it's a very short street. So I would speculate the traffic counts are probably fairly low on that street. And across the street to the east from him, it's parking in that area that just looks like there's no curb cut. It's all curb cut, and they're maneuvering in the right of way currently as an existing condition. But those are just observations that I had about the site, and don't really know what direction that might even sway my own opinion. But
Yeah, the way that most of that 39th area is right now, there aren't, especially that area, there aren't curb cuts. And then, because you have the Steve's Wholesale to our, losing my sense of direction, I'm sorry, east. And then we have a car dealership to our west, and then just like a little, I don't know what they do behind us, but it's kind of like a little warehouse type thing. But yeah, that Amelia is not a heavily trafficked street at all.
And the entire area to the north of your building is actually pavement, is that right? And is there a curb cut at all? Or is it
No,
just
it's
all-
not curb cut at all. It's all pavement. And then, because part of what we're trying to do is, kind of green it up a little bit, and that's why we added some grass over there. Right now, it's just straight concrete.
I was kind of wondering if there might not be some
Yeah.
opportunities up along 39th to actually take away some of that non-existent curb cut, add some curbing so you actually have a
Yeah.
drive in, and add some greenery
And-
as a concession possibly.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if this will help or not. This will give a better visual, I think, kind of like on the side. I wonder what
Please,
it
yeah.
will look like.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
it's-
the site triangle is really not an issue because 39th Street's so wide, and they're pulling out there anyway, so it's not that big a deal for that part of it. But, the traffic, kind of the traffic issue around up there, I think, is a little bit more significant with how traffic flows in and out of here. You got people coming out of this. How wide is this drive aisle There's no dimension on here for
Oh,
the drive aisle?
the drive-through driveway is 12 feet.
Drive-through, huh?
12 feet.
12 feet?
Yeah, and if nothing else, I mean, because right now, the way people are backing up, if nothing else, it has them going in, head out, so I think it gives them a better perspective of where they're going once they get on 39, rather.
Yeah, but you're fighting, the people that are pulling out in this configuration are fighting with the people that are pulling in front. And I guarantee there'll be a lot of people doing both of those in this situation, you know? And that's concerning. I'd almost rather see them come in here and turn out onto Amelia than go out in the front out there, you know?
Yeah.
What would you think about having the drive-through come up and then they dump out onto Amelia as opposed to going out this front part out here?
If that would make sense, I mean, we were trying to minimize how much we go into the easement. That's one of the reasons why we went that way, rather than doing another cut into Amelia. But I mean, if that's...
If you'd make this a big grass area out here in front, then your drive-through people would not be fighting with you.
Yeah, I think that would work out better. We were trying to minimize what we do in the easement. We're trying to make it as little as possible, so that's why we weren't thinking of making another curb cut into Amelia. But I agree with you in that I think it would flow better that way. Having them go out into the side street. That way, when they go into the side street, they can just...
That would actually involve less paving of that area there.
Well, all the area...
Going that way.
All the area beyond there, kind of like where it starts curving, that's all paved right now anyway. We're actually adding grass there. Yeah, so like if you look at the area, like essentially up until where you see the L, kind of where the building is, I mean, if you look at, there's like a straight line across the drive-through lane. Do you see that right now? So right now, from there on, it's pretty much all pavement right now. It's just the grassy part starts before that. It's just asphalt.
Here would be my suggestion then. All the red scribbling would be grass and landscaping and stuff in that area, and then the drive-through would dump out in Amelia, which like you said, it doesn't have very much traffic anyway. And that would keep the traffic conflict down from that stuff coming in the front of the store there.
Mm-hmm. Is that the same?
You did? You did the same thing? Yeah.
We're all sitting up here trying to find design solutions for you, so...
I need to hire you guys.
I'm a developer, he's an architect, whatever it is.
But I like the idea of additional landscape, because we want to make sure it looks nice, so...
Good. So we're here for a solution. Okay?
Hold on, Jim, I'm trying to follow your... Is that the...
configuration of the driveway, and actually we would leave the driveway area in the north part, or the south part.
Is that the drive-through window in your configuration? And you would enter like this, or enter from like...
Enter on the east side of the building.
On the...
And the drive-in would be moved. And then you would exit basically into the south parking lot and over to Amelia. I mean, it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
You're not directly
Oh, you mean you want to put the drive-through back there? Oh, you can't do that in the store. Huh? You can't operate a store with the drive-through in the back of it. You can't operate a store with the drive-through in the back of it. I don't know any stores that do that.
That's why I asked the configuration of the interior of the building. I don't know that, but that, I don't see why they couldn't do that if it was configured properly.
Did the corporate office come up with this design for you guys, or did you?
We had a construction manager. He's the one that, he's no longer with the company, but he's the one that came up with the idea of having to drive like this.
You want to look at these?
Sure, I'll look.
Uh-huh.
I think that one would work.
How about the other one?
The red.
How about the other one?
red one?
Look at the other.
The other one that would make it difficult is what make it difficult with that is as far as the way, you have to think of like the typical setup of the inside of the store, at least for us, putting it back there would cause it to dramatically change because there's a lot of shared resources between what's in the front of house, so what's serving customers that are walking in versus those that are in the drive-through. When you have it, anytime you put it in the back, it takes away from your back of house, so areas you have for storage and things. It also causes you to duplicate a lot of things, so you'll have to have, in our situation, more coffee stations, more donut racks, more things like that. It makes it slightly more inefficient inside, operationally speaking. But all things are, I guess I would say nothing is impossible, but it would make it more difficult.
I hate to swear at you, but Starbucks entry is over here, and most of them, it's on the other side.
Right.
For their drive-through.
Yeah. Well, they're...
Sorry to bring that, Nick.
No, it's okay. So, they're much more beverage heavy than we are. We're much more... beverage is a key component of our products, but, just as heavy is, our sandwich stations, our breakfast sandwiches, and our donuts.
Yeah.
Whereas they don't necessarily have that component.
You got a kitchen where they don't have a kitchen.
Yeah, we're doing a lot more sandwiches than they are. And, we're cooking them, and they're...
Okay.
If it was just like an issue of coffee and lattes, then different situation.
Well, I see it as acceptable, the way you've marked up your drawing showing the driveway exiting on Amelia and the additional landscaping on the 39th Street side. So, and I think he's
Are you making a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the revised site plan to reflect the driveway exiting on Amelia, the additional landscaping in the front, and we can reference that drawing and put it into the record.
Everything that's scribbled in red there would be...
Can I get you to autograph this?
Yeah. Everything that's scribbled in red would be landscape.
Right. Which I think would look better for us. I think it would make the storefront look a lot nicer.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not sure how much right-of-way,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much right-of-way is in the front of the building. Is it possible to actually control the curb cut there? Where you could actually narrow it down to a 25-foot drive and not have a complete wide curb cut? There's no curb there currently.
I just want this section right here?
Yeah.
Like over on 39th?
Yeah.
Itself? Well, yeah, the right-of-way goes, because our property line, it's right until the end of where those parking spaces are. And then after that, it's, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, because we did a site survey, it's like 60 feet or something. So it's like everything from pretty much the tip of those painted lines for the parking spots all the way to Northwest 39th is considered part of the right-of-way.
Right. Do you know how much distance that is from the tip, from the north end of your parking lot to
that tip?
Curb line of...
I don't remember off the top of my head. I know we looked at it.
39th is a mess.
I know. Well, that's why I was wondering, can we eliminate some of that just open curbing area and create an actual drive into that site and possibly have a landscape buffer on the 39th Street side with some grass instead of complete asphalt and no curb?
Is there going to be enough room, and maybe, did you see that drawing, JJ?
Yeah.
The one in red? Is there going to be enough room from 39th to that curb cut? Is there going to be enough room there?
It looks like it. It's hard to tell because there's no dimensions on their drawing.
So maybe we ought to continue it?
I'd prefer a continuance. So I can make sure that they're not, that the new requirements isn't going to require some other kind of variance.
Oh, I see.
Or have some other issue.
Okay, so as far as the new drive coming out of the drive-through?
Separation from the corner.
Okay.
And then Were you looking at something like that?
There's my, I just don't know how much distance is there to actually
So the question is, we just need to verify the dimension,
make a
the
controlled
setback,
curb cut.
to make sure that the
Put some
driveway
grass
cut is
out
in
on
compliance
29th,
with setback
There's
requirements.
an asphalt, and basically continue that landscaping strip.
I would like to withdraw my motion.
Are you acceptable to a continuance?
Sure. Go ahead, sorry. I was going to ask, so I just want to make sure I know what to bring, I guess, next time. It would be revised plans to reflect this, I guess?
You want to go see them?
Yeah, and I'll show you mine as
Go
well.
see them. Go see planning and talk about it.
Yeah, you might come see
Okay.
JJ, and we'll have, he knows what the ideas are, and
Okay.
Okay, I'll move for a continuance to February, what's the next meeting?
JJ.
3rd?
Second.
Motion and a second to continue the application to the next meeting. Please record your votes. You are continued. Thanks for working with us. Hopefully, we'll come to an even better solution for your store.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And that's it.
We need a motion to adjourn. So moved.
All right, we're adjourned. Well, what I'm wondering is,